Hey friends, it's Mari. I have a project here today for a Scrapbook Nerd online shop, and I'm going to be featuring this really cool product from Nuvo called Shimmer Powder, and the color I'm using here is Atlantis Burst. Now, I'm using a piece of Bazzill Marshmallow cardstock for my base, and I've treated that with a little bit of gesso. I just scraped it on with my palette knife, and now you can see I just sprinkled some of that powder onto my paper, and now I'm just taking my water spritzer and I'm spritzing it just to activate the color. Now I'm just taking, this is just a mop brush that I have in my stash, and I'm just going to move it around a little bit just to kind of get it going in some different areas so that it doesn't just stream, in single lines everywhere. So I want to avoid that. I wanted it to be more of a solid look than just the line. So I'm moving it around a little bit and just kind of experimenting with it. So I'm going to now just take a little bit more, put a little more on there to get more color. And you can see that there's a little bit of shimmer to this as well. Or if you can't see it on the video, then I'm just going to tell you there is some shimmer. I feel like there must be some mica or something in this product. It's very, very cool, and I really love it. The shimmer that's in this one is kind of almost, pardon me, a little bit gold. It's got a tiny little wee bit of flecks of gold in it, and it is just gorgeous. I love this. Now I'm going to try to sop up a little bit of that water with some paper towel, and then I'm going to go in with my heat tool and dry it. Now I'm going to be using the My Mind's Eye Splendor collection, which is absolutely gorgeous. I love this collection, and I haven't used the swans yet. I've mostly just used the floral pieces. So today when I was looking at this, I thought, okay, that kind of looks like water on there, and I'm going to use those swans and make it look like the swans are kind of like floating in the water. I'm going to be scrapbooking 3 photographs here that I've printed in 3 inches by 3 inches in black and white. And the story I'm telling here is about the morning of Bailey's wedding when we were getting our hair done. And I'm just going to document about the stylist that we had and how that went. I really loved the feminine feel of this so far, so I wanted to use a doily on the left side of the photographs, and you can see that I'm just going for that vertical with my photos. Now I'm just going to put some things on here just to try them out at this point and see what I might want to use. I definitely wanted to use that word lovely, and as far as what the other pieces of the collection I wanted to use, I'm just going to try out a few bits and pieces and see what I want to do. Now my very most favorite paper from this collection is this text paper. I love it, and I wanted to for sure use a strip of that on the left side just to add a little bit of detail over to that edge. So to do that, all I did was I then just trimmed off about 1/2 inch from the right side of the paper. So the paper is still 12 by 12. And then I just stuck that text paper to that left side. Now I'm just going into the 6 by 6 paper pad. And I'm going to look for some papers to back my photos. So I wanted to do a simple mat on each of my photographs, and I wanted to use 3 different papers on each photo that are going to complement the layout. So I end up using that swan paper and the text paper, and then another black pattern paper from that 6 by 6 pad. Now I'm just going to take some vellum from my stash, and I'm going to back each of the 3 photographs with a piece of vellum, and then I'm going to put some foam adhesive behind that layer of vellum so that the patterned paper from the 6 by 6 pad has some air, so to speak, between the paper and the photograph. So you just see me putting that on there. I wanted there to be some space between the vellum and that pattern paper, because then that just gives it some dimension. I feel like it just looks more interesting that way, and then it makes it just more possible for you to do more layering, I guess, if you decide you want to layer later. So I'm just going to take that little swan. I've added some craft foam to the back of it and a little bit of liquid adhesive to the back of the craft foam. Now I'm just going to put a paperweight on top of that so that it sticks down. Remember that if you use a bunch of mixed media or gesso on your paper, you're probably going to have to use some liquid adhesive to stick things onto it so that it will adhere. And I just find I have the best luck with that. I'm going to stick my doily down with a little bit of liquid adhesive as well, and then I'm going to start to build my layers on top of all of these different areas. So I am going to use some craft foam behind my 3 photographs as well, and then stick that down with some liquid adhesive also. Now I wanted that middle photo to be straight, and then the photo that I've got above it and below it, I'm going to just offset those with that middle photo, just so that they look a little bit more interesting and it's not sort of like just a straight line. I could have done that as well. It would have been fine, but I just thought I would go for something a little bit on an angle for the top and bottom photo. Now I'm going to put that other little swan there on the photo of Bailey there, that main photo in the center. And now I'm going to just go through all the different pieces from the collection and add them in here and there. So I'm going to add some of those dimensional stickers. You can see that sticker sheet just to the left of the layout. I love those dimensional stickers. I think they're super cool. I've also got the chipboard from the collection, the stickers, all of the little bits and pieces, and I'm just going to play around with them now and see what I want to, how I want to embellish. You know, I really love a lot of I like how there's like the horizontal line going here and the vertical line, and I didn't really want to mess around too much with the white space that I have so far. I really like it. I like how it just sort of feels airy and light and pretty that way, and I like that little bit of white space just to I don't know, I just feel like I just like that composition, especially for this specific layout. Now I'm going to just continue to add some things in. I decided to go ahead and do my journaling on my computer. What I did was I took this little frame, I figured out what the dimensions of the opening of the frame were, and then I went into Microsoft Word and made a text box using those dimensions. I just changed the dimensions in centimeters to the inside of that text box. Then I just printed that off. I think I used a 9-point font, and my font is called Special Elite, which I think I downloaded from dafont.com. Then I just printed that using my old printer in my office, and on some cheaper cardstock that I pick up at Staples or Michael's or whatever, and that is what I use to print my journaling on. Now I just took this phrase sticker sheet from my stash. I know that Joy has a bunch of sticker sheets like this in the shop. This one happens to be Vicky Boutin, but you could use whatever, and I just wanted to put a little phrase sticker layered on each of the photo areas. I just like how that finishes that off, and it's a really easy way to add a little bit more detail. Now I love how this is looking, and I thought about adding some enamel dots, and I could have done that, but instead of doing that I added some Studio Katia iridescent sequins, and I just love how they pick up the light, and they're just so pretty and light. They don't add a bunch of heaviness to the layout, but rather just some really nice pretty lightness, and you'll see those on the finished layout, those really pretty sparkly sequins. And I just glue those down just with some, actually I use the Nuvo glue. That's one of my favorite glues, liquid adhesives in my stash. I'm pretty sure Joy stocks that in the shop, but you'll have to double check. She has an excellent choice of adhesives in the shop, so you can check that out and see what is available. She also has a new feature in the shop where you can be notified when something's back in stock. So if you find something that you really love in the shop but it's out of stock, you just can click the notify and she will let you know when it comes back in stock. Now you can see that Nuvo glue there I'm just using to glue down some more of those Studio Katia iridescent sequins. I really love how that looks, and that's going to be it for the layout today. It came together quite quickly actually. I think this layout only took me about maybe an hour tops to do, and maybe even only about 45 minutes. I love the Nuvo Shimmer powder. I know that Joy has it in a few different colors in the shop. It is so easy to add mixed media to your layout, and I really enjoyed using it. Something you can do to flatten your layout after you've created, if you want to get rid of some warping, is just adhere another piece of that heavy Bazzill paper to the back, and it's perfect. Now I also added a little bit of stitching to the left side along that text paper on on the white, and I really like how that looked. Thanks so much for stopping by, guys. I will leave a link to the Scrapbook Nerd online shop in the description box below. I will also leave some still shots here and some links to where you can find me in social media. Thank you so much for stopping by, guys. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you again. Bye-bye.